Hello everyone, I'm Havoc, and this is All the Mods 6. We're back at it again today, and I am in the mining dimension, because this is where I like to kill withers. I still don't have a real automated system for this yet. I have a ton of wither skulls, and you'll see I have 61 right now. Watch how many I get when I kill this guy. Sorry for the noise. It's quite loud, I know. Oh look. I have more skulls than what I started with. How interesting. That would be, oops, because I have beheading on my sword. I have looting 7, scavenger 3, which gives you a chance for it to re-roll the loot table, and I have beheading 7. I had to think about that again for a second. But yes, I have beheading 7, so I get a ton of heads back while doing this. In fact, I'm printing with the skeleton skulls. The only thing this cost me is the soul sand. It doesn't really cost me the wither skeleton skulls because I get more back than I use. And I only get one nether star. I mean, I guess it's a guaranteed one drop even though you have looting and scavenger. All of the good stuff. Sorry if it's a bit loud. I'm not going to kill a bunch of them on camera and make y'all sit through that. I was just showing you what I was doing there, getting a few nether stars. Because... whoosh. We're going to need those nether stars. I have a few in here. 6, so I had 4 in here before. And, oh, y'all probably noticed this. The jumbo furnace. This thing is hilarious. It's just a 3x3x3 of furnaces, and then it forms a jumbo furnace, which I needed in order to make this redstone alloy. It's iron and 4 redstone dust in the jumbo furnace, and this is used in order to make red alloy wire, which is going to be used in today's project. I've already got some in the system, I do believe, or in my bag, I don't know, somewhere, but we'll go ahead and make the rest there. And today's project is really to teach y'all a little something that I've learned about Apotheosis. Last episode we really went over power and power, the mod that I'm very heavily utilizing. And this episode I'm going to look at Apotheosis. Right, so I've already showed off that you can enchant things just super overpowered with the end shelves and the candles and all that. And that's how I got these crazy awesome things that I have. Between that and the disenchanter, which allows me to rip enchants off of things, I was able to over enchant my weapons. My sword is just insane right now. And it's only Vibranium. I mean, I can upgrade it to Unobtanium, which I will do. And I really need to get some armor. Like y'all probably noticed, I took a lot of damage when I was fighting the Wither, but if I hit him once, this thing has Leech Life 6 on it, so I just heal back to full pretty much instantly if I whack him one good time. So as long as I'm swinging, I'm not going to die. If I get knocked around too much, though, maybe I will die. So I'll look into getting the armor here shortly, but that's not today's episode. Today's episode is Apotheosis. So if I look in here at spawners, I've gone around with my Silk Touch pick, and I have picked up quite a lot of different spawners. A whole lot of Endermite spawners, because of these show up in the end all over the place in the little end mine shafts there are. And I'm going to show you real quickly what we can do with a spawner now. If it's a comparator. If I take a comparator and put that in one hand, if I put this thing down and then right click it with a comparator, you'll see it stops. It's now redstone controlled. I just edited the spawners, what you can do with it, I forget, specifications, let's see. Attributes, that's the word I was trying to say. It's okay, y'all knew. I know that you knew, and that's the important part. But we altered the attributes of the spawner itself, and there's a lot of different ways to do that. And I know I've gone over it a little bit before, but sugar reduces the minimum spawn delay to next to nothing. A clock reduces the maximum, so you can reduce the minimum to 5, and these are ticks. 5 ticks. That's a quarter of a second if your server's running at normal Minecraft speed. So 4 times a second possible if it rolls the minimum every single time. And then the maximum can be lowered all the way to 10, which is half a second. So if you do this, it's either spawning every quarter of a second or half of a second. That's crazy. Now, you can also add a fermented spider eye and increase the spawn count right down here by 1 each time you add it, up to a maximum of 20 each time. You can add gas tiers to it to increase the total number of entities that it's allowed to spawn around it, all the way up to 40. And you can throw prismarine crystals on there to increase the range for the player's distance to it, but you can just completely ignore that by throwing a nether star on, and then it'll ignore the need for the player to be around. Spawn conditions, so like zombies, right, need it to be dark. You can't, zombie skeletons, if you light up around the spawner, they won't spawn anymore unless you slap a Unobtanium ingot on there, and then it will. You can also increase the range all the way up to 32 around the spawner itself, and now that's 32 from the spawner all the way out, not total range. That's radius. I want you to think about that. That is radius. So it will spawn in what, a 65 area, right? So from the spawner, yeah, I think it includes the spawner. So maybe it's a 63 area or 64. I don't know. It's roughly that much. You just got to be careful. If you add that on too much, things might start spawning outside the enclosure that you build for it. I really am not too worried about that. And then redstone control with the comparator. But here's the really cool part, is that you can throw a spawn egg on there and change what it spawns. Now, there are several other mods in here that really make that a little funny, right? So you might have already noticed on my sword right below soulbound it says capturing 7, which means I have a pretty good chance, it's still small, but I have a pretty good chance of getting a spawn egg when I kill something with my sword, right? So I have a creeper spawn egg. This one I didn't get from killing creepers. I actually crafted this with creeper charm fragments. Creeper charm fragments are catalyzing glands, gunpowder, and bones. You make 2 of them, and you add those 2 with a normal egg, and you actually get the spawn egg. But I have gotten other spawn eggs from other creatures. Now, that's a creeper spawner. Now we're going to grab, what is it, sugar and clocks. We'll go ahead and do the sugar first, and all I'm going to do is sit here and right click, and it is going to eat all this sugar up and reduce the minimum spawn delay all the way down to 5 ticks, right? And 20 ticks is a second. So that's all the way down. Now the next thing we need to do are clocks. Just make a stack of them. I don't know, I may need more than a stack. I think it seems to be that it does kind of random, because I've done this to a few spawners now, and sometimes it uses more clocks and sometimes it uses less. Same thing with the sugar. Yes, that used more than a stack. I don't know how many more it'll take, so I don't want to make too many more. We'll do that many, 8. Oh goodness. It's getting a bit expensive now. Gold and redstone. Holy cow. How many did I make? 8 and then 6 more. Oh, and then it uses one more after I make 12 more. Thanks. Thanks for that. It's really appreciate that. It's okay. I'll probably use those clocks for something else. Alright, but what I want to do is an Unobtanium ingot and a nether star on this thing as well. So let's just actually look up star, because there's a lot of things called nether. All I need is 1 nether star, bloop, and 1 Unobtanium ingot, and now that thing will ignore spawn conditions. I don't have to be around it, and it's going to spawn really fast. Now I could also make it spawn extra, but I'm going to tell you, you really don't need to. you really don't. And I'm going to explain why in just a second. I have been doing this down here with a very simple build. I'm going to make a prettier build later on. Oh yes, and this is why I wanted to see something. I don't like having all of those on there. I want to run this wire down and see, will that work? Can I just power this block? Can it power all those fans? Sure enough, I love it. Because that's what I'd rather have, instead of having 1.5 billion of these levers here. But this whole thing will get tore up. Don't worry, it's only temporary. I'm going to build a much better one. I got to turn those fans off over there before I go in and get pushed around. But thanks to the fact that this number 1 spawns a whole ton. So what was that? That was Enderman. I had Enderman going in here. Now we're going to throw creepers in here. Right? It's set up. I've got a wireless redstone receiver and a transmitter there to turn this on. But over here, this is the real money maker right here. The mob masher can be upgraded with these different upgrades. So if I come in here, I'll just show you mob. And this is from the Mob Grinding Utilities mod. Now, there's also a fan from the Mob Grinding Utilities. I didn't use it. Pushes mobs in the facing direction. Let's see, area effect can be toggled with its GUI. I mean, it's probably, I don't know, it may be better than the fans that I am using right now. I might have to try those out and see, but I already have the fans that I'm using, so I'm not too worried about it. But these are the upgrades that you can add to the Mob Masher itself. This is essentially Bane of Arthropods, the enchant, but it can go all the way up to 10. Then you have Beheading, all the way up to 10. I didn't really worry about either one of those because, I mean, I don't really need that heads right now. If I ever need heads, sure, I'll throw 10 upgrades in here, which is the maximum you can do, and it'll have Beheading 10, and I'll be drowning in mob heads. I might just put 1 on here just for kicks and giggles to see what I get. Then you got the fire aspect all the way up to 10. You know what that does, lights things on fire. I wasn't doing that because I was grinding Enderman in here, and a lot of times when Endermen get lit on fire, what do? Boof, and they're gone, and then they're not dying in your mob trap, and you've got 10,000 Endermen on fire, screaming and picking up blocks all over your base. Don't do that. It's terrible. Here's the moneymaker, looting. Mob Masher looting upgrade, all the way up to 10. Absolute monster, right? Yeah, it's looting 10 on this thing. And then I have Smite because I did have Wither Skeletons in here all the way up to 10, so that helps kill them faster. Between the sharpness and the Smite, they kill really fast. But the looting 10, that's insane, right? Now I want to demonstrate how this works real fast for you guys and gals, you people. Let me speak here. So we're going to turn our fans back on. And then we're going to turn that spawner on. And it's going to be fast. I mean, we cranked it up. We filled that thing up with sugar and with clocks. So now we just need to turn it on. And something's not right. Okay, and we're back. So, terrible things happened. It's okay. We fixed it. Terrible things are not happening anymore. So, if I flip this lever, the fans turn on, and if I flip this lever, mobs die really fast. Oh gosh, my magnet's on. Okay, yes, turn that off. Yeah, these are what I'm after right here, the catalytic glands, by the way. You know, gunpowder, sure, sounds nice, all kinds of other things. Great, good to have, but what in the world? There are a bunch of them are spawning in the floor. That will be resolved when I build this thing more permanently, because these are going to be floating in the air a little bit. The mobs will spawn and kind of drop just a tad and then be blown where they're going. That way they can't get stuck. But you see how quickly it goes? I mean, let's just have a look here. I only had 3 glands in the system beforehand. I have 145. I've gotten 142 glands in just a minute or two of letting this thing run. Not very long at all. And it's just cooking right on along. It's great. But here's the real purpose of this. The real purpose of this is a experience pylon that gathers all the experience, turns it with sugar into, let's check my system, Experience Confections, and these guys are great. You just eat them up. Bloop, 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 bloop. I'm over level 100, and look how much experience you get from this. It's great. So I can just churn right through these. I've got tons of them in the system. As long as I keep sugar in this chest, it just keeps producing more of them. Now, that's going to run even if I'm not here. So I can show you that because I added in the nether star. The nether star is what makes it not require a person to be there, a player to be around. And there you go. You'll see every so often that's going to go up. I mean, if we look at gunpowder, you'll see gunpowder shooting up like crazy. Right? So just constantly going up as we're just murdering tons of them. Now, I can't leave it running all the time because I've not optimized my storage system the best just yet. But that's what I'm doing right now in order to get those, what are they? I think it's from Reliquary. Catalyzing glands. Yes, Reliquary. I'm getting these rare drops. I don't need them as much. I mean, I'm sure there are some interesting things that you can do with them. Oh, a gas charm fragment. That'd be nice. And yeah, fertilizing essence. I'm definitely going to want some of that later. But repairs gold items. Touch of Midas. That's great. The real reason that I'm getting a lot of these things, I'm going to need a skeleton one. I've got a slime one already. We've got our creeper spawner in there. Is a lot of these rare drops are needed for the bees mod. So if you look in here, like the ghost bee, where is it, breeding? See, you need a bunch of these catalyzing glands in order to breed new bees and other bees, and you need the withered ribs, the slime bee. Where's the slimy bee? Takes the slime pearls, which I've got a ton of and whatnot. And Juniper on the server is actually doing the resourceful bees. We can take a quick peek over here. Magnet is off. We can just run over here at her little area and see she's pretty. I don't think she's done anything that's really on the server yet other than getting into the bees. She's got all these little bee areas set up where she's running them, and I'm kind of helping to supply her with the more advanced resources that are harder to come by. So those are the main reasons I wanted that, and lots of experience, because this sword may be amazing, but it ain't the best that we can do, and we're definitely going to go for the best later. Another thing that I really want to do, and I mean that's a good example, is let's get into the armor. I can absolutely make the armor. I've got all the modium coming out of my nose, and I'll show you exactly why. I may have already shown in the last video. It's getting hard for me to remember now at this point. I'm not becoming old and senile, don't worry guys. But I have a builder in the mining dimension that was just stripping. It's clearing quarry builder and just stripping out, and the only thing that it can't mine is, guess what, all the modium. So you strip mine an area out, and then you just fly in there and there'll be some blocks floating around. Guess what, they're all the modium, and all the modium can be run through a crusher and enriching factory, this whole setup over here, in order to triple the ore. So you get just a handful and you turn it into a bunch. This armor is amazing. Look at this. All the modium boots, all the modium leggings. It's 100 armor, 125 armor toughness, and 12.5 knockback resistance. But it don't stop there, because we got Vibranium, and Vibranium is amazing. Gives you water breathing, right? You see that right there? Water breathing. And gives you knockback resistance. More armor and more armor toughness. Why wouldn't we want to do this? I've got what I need in order to upgrade it, because I've been all over the top of the nether stripping it out with the sight potions and grabbing a bunch of vibranium. Now the kicker is going to be the Unobtanium. No fall damage whatsoever. Piglins become neutral. Interesting. Also 400 armor, 500 armor toughness, and plus 50 knockback resistance. I mean, That's all amazing. I'll take it all. Thank you. Let's see what this one gives us. Piglins become neutral. No crash damage while flying with an elytra. I mean, don't really use an elytra. And then the water breathing, which we already have. Tons of extra stuff. What does this give us? Protected from damage sources using Wither. Okay. Protection against shulker levitation attacks. Immune to nausea and magic resistance. I mean, there's nothing there that I don't like hearing. Now, I have a jetpack. Okay? And I need to upgrade it because Invar's not the best. I have an elytra. I have 2 elytras. And I can use them in order to craft the diamond ring. Ooh, Unobtanium block. Whew. That's pricey. I do have some Unobtanium because I did also strip mine. In the end, I only got 19 there. And, okay, so I got 6. So we can run this through. You see it triples it, processes everything all the way down. And I turned that 6 into 18. That helps out a lot. Okay. So I could definitely make a block and upgrade our jetpack. But I also want to see, what does the Unobtanium chest piece do? Piglins are neutral, immune to all damage sources, fire and lava. So I would no longer need to carry around the obsidian skull. But it doesn't give me flight. So the question becomes, what do we do for flight in that case? If I go for this, I mean, really, if you think about it, I already have immunity to fire and lava. Do I really need this? It's just the armor toughness and knockback resistance that I would get a ton of, and you already get a ton from these things. So the question then becomes, is it necessary? Is it really necessary? And I can enchant these things insanely. Let's just take a peek at that, actually. If I come in here, just drop the helmet in. Life mending's not that great. Beekeeping. What is that there? So there's a better way to do it than to just guess. So if I come here and type tome, you'll see can remove affixes. Tome of the miners, archers, tome of scrapping, tome of boots, leg baits, chest plates, helmets right here. I want to make the tome of helmets. So this should only take helmet enchants. So if I come in here, I'm going to need more lapis. I've got lapis for days. It's not an issue. And then I drop right in here. Throw the lapis in and throw the tome of helmets in. Aqua affinity. That sounds great. But look at what we got here. Night vision. Fire react. I don't even know what that is. And gloom. Okay. So just toss another one in. Blast protection. We can go with that for sure. Insight 2. I don't even know what Insight 2 does. But here's another little trick. I can come over here because it's got a bunch of them on here. Let's throw this in. And then Insight. Increases experience gain when using the item on a helmet. Does that mean when you take damage and your helmet blocks damage? Gloom. Chance to apply negative status effects on enemy when hit. That sounds awesome. Why not? Night vision I'm not as worried about. In fact, the night vision is a little weird. Mining speed penalty when underwater. So there's actually a better one than Aqua Affinity. It's not for your helmet, it's for your boots, and it removes the penalty. I think it's called like Steadfast. What is it called? We may not be able to get it, but anyways, I'm not too worried about it. But this is what I'm probably going to do. Do a little bit of throwing these tomes in here, seeing what we can get in the form of helmet enchants, because that's all that this is going to take is helmet enchants. And, ooh, Berserker's Fury. I don't know what that is. That sounds cool. blast protection, crazy amounts, insight 7. Yeah, see, you can get some wild enchants off of this. And then we can rip it all off. Blast protection 4. I guess that's probably not his best. I bet there's better blast protection. Projectile protection 9. Holy moly. Now, what is that? Gourmand? Hold on. That one sounds neat. I want to see. Food is more nourishing and satisfying when consumed. What? That's crazy. Air affinity removes the mining speed penalty while not on the ground. Again, there is a combination of the aqua affinity and air affinity for your boots. So I don't necessarily want to put anything on the helmet that I can get doubled up together in the boots. I've seen it before. But I'm going to set this stuff to the side. We're going to throw it in the system, and I will do a lot of this off camera. It's probably boring. I know y'all don't want to watch me sift through a bunch of enchants. And I'm going to get this Unobtanium gear really ramped up with some amazing enchants and deck these things out. Let's see, one last thing I wanted to show you about Apotheosis is, let's grab it here, all of these awesome arrows that you can add in. It adds its own special potions as well for Apotheosis, which are great, and charms. I'm not sure, this is like potion effects. I don't know if it consumes these when you use it, or if it goes on some kind of cooldown. Not exactly. Or maybe it uses the potions as long as they're in your inventory. I'm not sure. I'll have to play around with that. But these arrows, where did they go? Where did they go? Over here. Yes, it adds in a lot of their own arrows, which have potion effects. You can shoot potion effects at things, other players, enemies. I mean, think about mining fatigue. You could hit someone with a mining fatigue. You could mess around with somebody, essentially. You throw mining fatigue, 2 on somebody and then laugh. You can hit them with wither, and I'm not sure what ancient knowledge does. Maybe that gives you experience. That's interesting. Arrow of Sundering. Sundering is an armor hardness reducing enchant. But this is also where a lot of the strange enchants that you're not sure what they are come from. A lot of them come from this mod itself. Let's see, a good one would be something like the scavenger I was telling y'all about. I saw it right over here. Yes, mobs killed may roll their loot tables twice, and that goes all the way to 3, and that's what I have on my sword. That's why I get a ton of stuff with it, and it's really amazing. But this mod really adds a lot of really neat, really cool things to it, and I really felt like there's probably, I didn't really fully understand how it was working in all the Mod 6, and when I figured it out, I wanted to put a good video out so I can explain it to everybody and really show the benefits of that mod. If you enjoyed today's video, feel free to hit the like button. I really do appreciate it, and consider subscribing to my channel if you aren't already. And I will see you all next time.